Yes. Visual.
Now let us see what are the applications of quantum wells, wires and dots. First application, quantum dot lasers. By using this technology, quantum well is created first. You can see here this p-type GAS layer is there, brown color, single layer, on which you can see here green color dots, they are placed. So well in dot, dots on the well, such kind of structures, they are used for creating lasers. By using quantum dots, lasers can be constructed. So it is a semiconductor laser that uses quantum dots as the active laser medium in its light emitting region. You know that there should be some population inversion in laser processes, light amplification due to stimulated emission of radiation. So in metastable state, there is a metastable state of that material where charge carriers, they are populated here, they are gathered here by some process called as pumping. Okay, so due to active material which is used in the laser construction, in that those atoms or electrons or charge carriers of that active material, active medium, is allowed to gather, assemble in a state called as metastable state, and from that metastable state, when the charge carriers comes to ground state, they will emit light, and this is stimulated process. That's why it is the stimulated word, right? Laser light amplification due to stimulated emission of radiation. So the multiplication of multiple photons will be emitted. That's why the intensity is very high for the lasers, and it is focused at one particular point, right? So focused beam of light we get through laser. Power is more in laser than the ordinary light. So due to the tight confinement of these charge carriers in quantum dots, they are used as a inversion layer, population inversion layer. This is called as population inversion layer. So that process of assembling the charge carriers, the similar process can be acquired by using these quantum dots. They are assembled, right? A layer of quantum dots, it's created on island of quantum well. So due to this tight confinement of charge carriers, this is nothing but a population inversion process. They exhibit an electronic structure similar to atoms, and when they return to their ground state, they will emit light. So such kind of laser construction by using quantum dots is created using the well and quantum dots. So the laser light will come from this cavity. You can see here. And this is semiconductor material, GaAs, gallium arsenide. N-type substrate is there, on which a layer of quantum dot, a quantum well is there, thin film, and on which the quantum dots are created. We have seen how they can create it. A series or array of quantum dots can be created with the help of lithography process, right? Last lecture we have seen that process. Okay, so such structure will act as laser, quantum dot lasers. So indium arsenide quantum dots. They are deposited on p-type or n-type GaAs material, gallium arsenide. Okay. So diagrammatically we can show very easily. Again, it is not easy process. I must repeat. So you can see here, these are multiple layers of quantum wells, one on another, and on which quantum dots, you can see the round shape, they are placed very nearby each other. So this structure is called as dots in a well, or DWELL. D-well, dots in well structure or technology. D-well technology, dwell, right? So this active region is here. In active region, these quantum wells are there, multiple layers, and on each quantum wells there are array of quantum dots, and the beam comes from this active layer. In ordinary laser we use the active medium. We use the word active medium. So here we use the word active region, which is the region, it is shown here, consecutive layers of quantum wells and quantum dots, right? So this is a very good example of application of quantum wells and dots. There is another example called as quantum IR detectors. Quantum wells, simply quantum well lasers are also available. This is called as dual technology, which is hybrid technology, which uses both. Simply quantum dots also can be used, simply quantum wells can also be used. So depending on which kind of light is emitted, you can use different materials also and different technology also. This is the latest technology, hybrid technology, which uses both well also and dots also. Let me check any. Okay. There is nothing to discuss more. This image is taken from this site. There are different companies also which have this R&D section, and they do research in getting better light outcome from this kind of lasers. Second application is infrared detectors. So quantum well infrared photodetector, QWIP short form, is an infrared photodetector. As the name suggests, it detects photo, that means light detector, which uses electronic inter-subband transitions in quantum wells to absorb photons. Photodetectors, that means it will absorb photon, and this electron will be transferred from these wells, quantum wells. Okay, and which type of this light is this? Infrared, IR. IR photodetectors are these are the IR photodetectors. So these are typically made up of, again, semiconductor material, gallium arsenide, a material commonly found in smartphones and high-speed communication equipment. You know that all the ICs and all, they use this semiconductor material. Depending on the material and the design of the quantum wells, the energy levels can be tailored to absorb radiation in the IR from 3 to 20 micrometer. This is the range of IR light, which is absorbed by the electrons, and they will transfer from one well to another. So multiple well structure is there. And again, you can see here, this is transistor kind of structure, emitter, collector, and this is photodetector. So phototransistor kind of structure is this. In TY, you have studied phototransistor, photodiode, right? So these are photodetectors. Light is detected by the device, and the current, when light falls, according to the intensity of light, the current will change. If the intensity is more, current is more. So same here, this is IR photodetector, quantum well IR photodetector. So when IR light will fall, these photons, intensity of this IR will change, the electron transfer will change. As the number of electrons will be more or less according to the intensity, it will act as a photodetector, right? The transfer of charge carriers will take place from this emitter to collector. You can see the electron, which is shown here by blue dot. It will jump from this quantum wells. The potential barrier is overcome by this electron when it absorbs photon energy. IR photon energy is absorbed by the electron. It will excited to the higher level. It will jump out of this. It will jump the potential barrier and goes to next well, right? Like this. Or simply it can, if the intensity is sufficient enough, it will surpass all these wells and reach to collector. So the electron will reach to collector. That means the current will flow from collector to emitter, opposite to the direction of electron transfer, right? So this way current will flow between these two terminals, right? So this is the schematic. This is your book diagram. I have uploaded the notes. So in that, this diagram is there, chapter 9. Schematic conduction band, which is shown by this shaded portion. These are conduction band, and the valence band is inside this potential well, you can see. So the electrons are in the valence band. When they go to conduction band, when they are able to reach this conduction band, when they absorb IR light. Okay, so this is called as a bound state. Electrons are bound in this potential well because of the quantum confinement effect. So bound state, what is said here, and electron transition schemes, vertical arrows, these are the transition schemes. Different schemes are there, shown here. First is bound state to bound state. So you can see here the conduction band is also in overlapping stage, right? Valence band and conduction band, very less distance is there. So here, A bound state to bound state, B is bound state to continuum, and C is bound state to quasi-bound. So different conditions are given, and D is bound state to mini band. for quantum wave infrared photodetectors. So these are the four different conditions or positions of this, you can say, conduction band and valence band positions. Here different position. Here another position. It is lowered here and again lowered. So this is called as bound state to mini band for quantum wave infrared detectors. And what process takes place? Due to the absorption of light, this electron will get extra energy to surpass or to overcome the potential barrier and to reach to the destination, which is nothing but the collector. Okay, so these are just different positions of conduction and valence bands. So this how it functions, I have just explained. When the quantum wave infrared photodetector is illuminated with light of the same or higher energy, what is the word used here? Same or higher energy. For the electron to come out of that potential barrier, the energy of the incoming light should be the same or higher energy as the inter-subband transition energy. That means the difference between energy difference between that valence and conduction band, that is called as inter-subband transition energy, and electron is excited. Right? When this condition occurs, same or higher energy, then the electrons get excited. Once the electron is in the excited state, it can escape into the continuum and be measured as photocurrent. Continuum means here, out of the potential wave, in the pathway of the current. When the electron joins here, due to that extra electron, current will certainly increase, right? So this is the continuous process. When the electrons kept added, the current will certainly increase. So to externally measure a photocurrent, the electrons need to be extracted by applying an electric field to the quantum waves. So the efficiency of this absorption and extraction process depends on several parameters. So assuming that the detector is illuminated with a photon flux phi. So in simple language, if we see IR light is incident on the material, semiconductor material, electron get excited to the higher energy state and it will be added in this total current. Total photocurrent will increase when more and more electron will be captured. But here mathematically, if you see, the photon flux phi is there, number of photons per unit time. Flux phi means number of photons per unit time. Then the photocurrent is given by mathematically IPH, that is photon current, equal to E phi eta GPH, pH for photon, where E is the electron charge, eta is the absorption efficiency, and GPH is the photoconductive gain. So all these mathematical parameters are there. So on all these parameters, the photocurrent will be, the amount of photocurrent will depend. So that's why it is written here, depends on several parameters. Okay. So this is that incoming light. Electron capture, electron can capture and can be extracted. So this is photo emission, right? So from the confined state, when the electron comes out and join this mainstream, that is added to the total photocurrent, this will increase when the more and more electrons will be added, right? So this is that process in detail. So that was all about the detector, photo detector. As a photo detector, you can use quantum dots. Now here, superconductor is the last application of this quantum dots. Now superconductivity, you know that the resistance should be ideally it should be 0. Then you can say that material will act as superconductor. The superconductors they exhibit some properties, some of the properties that are very similar to that of quantum dots and quantum wires and quantum wells. Right, so there are some parameters in superconductivity topic. These are called as characteristics length scale, like a penetration depth lambda and coherence length xi. So this parameter, प्रणीत देशमुख का क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, बार बार लीव कर रहा है, ज्वाइन कर रहा है. Penetration depth lambda is called as it refers to the exponentially decaying magnetic field at the interior surface of the superconductor. It is related to the density of superconducting electrons in the material. So there is the Meissner effect. All these you have already studied, I think, all these terms: Meissner effect, Cooper pair, Josephson junction. So these phenomena, they are observed in case of small sized quantum dots, quantum structures, or you can say nano-sized structures. This is another parameter, coherence length xi, and independent characteristics length is called as coherence length. It is related to the Fermi velocity for the material and the energy gap associated with the condensation of the superconducting state. And you know that superconductivity is observed when the temperature is very less. It is lowered in certain materials, it is observed. Room temperature superconductivity is still not found, but sometimes you can read some research articles, research papers. They claim that they have found a material which can act as a superconductor at room temperature. If it happens, then it will be a very big achievement. Still, the research is going on. Now, what is Josephson effect? There are two semiconductors which are separated by a very thin strip of an installer, which that forms a Josephson junction. So this is just kind of Josephson devices, superconductors, superconductor 1 and superconductor 2. These are separated by a very thin film of insulating material. So this kind of devices, they are called as Josephson devices, which forms Josephson junction. Without any resistance, the transfer of charge carriers will take place. So superconductivity is present in a material when pairs of electrons condense into a bound state called as Cooper pair. with dimensions of order of coherence length xi. So this coherent length is there in between these two electrons, and they are bound, they are separated by order of this coherence length, very small distance between them. Thus Cooper pair, um, they are the basic charge carriers of the supercurrent. They can be looked as a nanoparticle or quantum dots, because you can see if there are only two electrons, they are separated by a very small distance called as coherence length. These pairs, pair of electron, they are called as Cooper pair, and they can be looked as an nanoparticle, very small sized nanoparticle. You can see they have the dimension, electrons dimensions are very small, and if two electrons are there and a number of such Cooper pairs are formed in a material, they can be treated as a nanoparticle. So there are some transition temperatures of some typical semiconductor of material like indium, lead, cadmium, or alloys of indium and lead, niobium, or nitrogen alloy. There are so many materials, but the temperature, if you see in Kelvin, for cadmium it is 0.56 Kelvin. So it's a very small value of temperature in Kelvin. For cadmium it is 0.56. For indium it is 3.4 Kelvin. For lead it is 7.2 Kelvin. So at very small temperature, this superconductivity can be observed, and their characteristics lengths in nanometer. This is for cadmium it is 760 nanometer, for indium it is 360 nanometer and 82 nanometer, and so on. For some alloys it is only 2 or 3 nanometer, like V3Si, vanadium silicate, niobium germanate, Nb3 Ge. For this is 3 nanometer characteristics name. So at very, and temperature is 1923 Kelvin. So at very small temperature, very less temperature, and very small characteristics length, these materials shows superconductivity. Okay. So they can be treated, the gist of this topic is that they can be treated as nanomaterial or quantum dot. And if you see the Josephson junction, this Josephson junction consists of these two semiconductors separated by a thin layer of insulating material. The wave nature of moving particles make these electrons to tunnel through the barrier. As a consequence of tunneling of electrons across the insulator, there is a net current across the junction. So the tunneling through these two superconductor 1 and superconductor 2, and they are separated by a very thin layer of insulating. So the tunneling of the charge carrier, this is called as Josephson junction. So the tunneling through this Josephson junction will take place, and there is a net current across the junction. This is called as DC Josephson effect. So the current flows even in absence of potential difference. So that is the called as electron tunneling, and in you know that the current flows only due to when there is a potential difference between 2 points. Now here, so in superconductor materials, there is no need for having potential difference. Still the current will flow. So that's why this superconductivity is all about, right? So the magnitude of current depends on the thickness of the insulator, the nature of the material, and the temperature. Now temperature is the important parameter here. It requires a very less temperature in kelvins only. On the other hand, when potential difference V is applied between the two sides of junction, if we apply potential difference V, there will be an oscillation of tunneling current with angular frequency nu equal to 2 EV upon H. This is called as AC Josephson effect. There is DC Josephson effect and AC Josephson effect. Now you can see here very small amount of voltage is required, which causes tunneling of electron through this Josephson junction. All this area, thickness, all these parameter, if we substitute and take out the value of voltage, applied voltage between these two superconducting materials, which is forming a Josephson junction, the tunneling of electrons through takes place through this junction. Okay? A very small amount of voltage is sufficient to cause tunneling of electrons. And even if there is no potential difference applied between these two terminals, some small current flows. That effect is called as DC Josephson effect. On the other hand, when potential difference is applied, there will be an oscillation of tunneling current with angular frequency, and this effect is called as AC Josephson effect. So these are the two kinds of effects observed in superconducting material having very small sized particles. Here we finish our first unit. There will be test. First internal will be based on first unit. It will be 20 MCQs and 1 mark each. Okay, and second internal, that is 20 marks. 1 minute. First internal will be class test based on internal assessment, will be class test of 20 marks, and second internal assessment will be based on your presentations. I will give you research papers based on carbon nanomaterials. That is the part of next unit. and you have to present read that paper. कितना स्टूडेंट्स है, 5 की 6?
मैम 6
है ना? हाँ, तो 6 स्टूडेंट्स को 6 पेपर्स, डिफरेंट पेपर्स विल बी अलॉटेड. You have to read that paper and prepare a PPT and explain it in the class. The marks, 20 marks are there for that. So total 20 plus 20, 40 marks internal will be covered. Okay. And 60 marks will be your semester end exam. So these are external 60 and 40 internal. So total 100. Okay. So I will assign you one paper in Google Classroom only. You will get it. You will get the mail regarding that. You have to download the paper, read it, make PPT and present. इसका PPT का तो हम बाद में करेंगे आफ्टर योर दिवाली वैकेशन. उससे पहले टेस्ट हो जाएगा. आई विल डिस्कस विथ HOD मैडम एंड विल अनाउंस द डेट. ठीक है. रिगार्डिंग प्रोजेक्ट आप काम चालू किए होंगे सब लोग.